right, so you're welcome back to the AM show, and we're getting on to our very first conversation, and it has to do with the University Teachers Association of Ghana. They are dropping hints that they're likely to resume their strike because they say government hasn't shown good faith as far as the strike is concerned. We have Professor Ransford Jampo. He's the secretary of UTAG at the University of Ghana. Good morning to you, Prof. Jampo. So it appears we're having to go back, or you're considering resuming the strike. You say government has shown bad faith. Can you explain exactly why?
Hello.
Yes, Professor Jampo.
Yes.
Good morning
Good
to
morning.
you.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah. So what is this bad faith that you talk about?
Hello, I can't hear you. What's the question?
Professor Jampo, can
Yes.
you hear me?
Uh-huh.
All right, so the question is, you talk about the University Teachers Association of Ghana is talking about bad faith on the part of government. I'd want you to explain to us exactly what the issue is.
Oh, I think that you will recall that we had embarked on an industrial action, and a good majority of our members felt that UTAG has been negotiating almost in perpetuity from 2012 up to now for better conditions of service, and there's always been lackadaisical and feet-dragging attitude on the part of employers and negotiators on the government side. And so when we embarked on that industrial action, the idea was that it's either we are giving what we want, or we're giving better conditions of service, or we don't go back to the classroom. But somewhere along the line, there were calls that negotiators and employers were really serious, and they wanted us to talk again around the negotiating table. And the caliber of people who had shown concern about the plight of lecturers and zeal to ensure a finality to this matter was that top-notch. And so they managed to speak to some leadership and, of course, some of us to persuade our ranks and members to go back, to agree for us to suspend the strike and to go back to the negotiation table. It was not an easy thing convincing and persuading our ranks that we have to suspend the strike. But eventually, some of us managed to swim against the tide and to convince them that, look, if you are demonstrating, you are on strike and over something, and the person you are demanding whatever you want from says, come and let's talk, and you say you won't talk, then you cannot also be on strike in perpetuity. And so let's look at also those behind the scenes who are practically pleading and begging and asking that we go back to negotiation table to talk. So we convinced them, and that's how come we signed that MOA, memorandum of.
I'm also sure you had the students' concern in mind as well.
Oh, definitely. I mean, you had a lot of us. I mean, no lecturer wants to go on strike in the middle of the semester when you are preparing students to go write exam and all that. I mean, we are not interested in that. No one wants to do that. And so the students were also appealing that if the government says they want to negotiate, then we should also go or heed to that call. So we signed an MOA that said that we should do this negotiation, in 1 month, and that in the MOA it was clearly stated that the strike action had not been called off but been suspended. There's a difference between suspending a strike action and calling off a strike action. And so the suspension was to pave way for us to negotiate within 1 month. The 1 month ended about 2-3 days ago, and nothing concrete had been arrived at and communicated to members. And so that's the reason why a presser was issued by the National Executive Committee explaining what had happened, just for the information of members and to aid all of us take a decision as to what line of action we should take. But generally, the next line of action is actually encapsulated or enshrined or found in the MOA that signed. That said that we had only suspended the strike action in a hope that we'll be able to negotiate for better conditions of service within 1 month. If you are not able to do so, then it is clearly implied in the MOA that we would have to advise ourselves. And so, for now, I know I am told that even though the 1 month negotiation period has expired, there's going to be a meeting between our negotiators and then the government side on Monday. Some of us are negotiation fatigued. I mean, I get tired when I hear about talks and negotiations, particularly when they prove not to yield the desired results. I've always said that we do not eat negotiations and we cannot be negotiating in perpetuity. And so let us hope. I'm just hoping that those fine political gentlemen who behind the scenes appeal to some of us to speak to our members, to agree to suspend the strike and to go back to negotiate, would not let us down, and they would now actively play a role to ensure that after the Monday meeting, something better will be communicated to UTAG members. Otherwise, I think if you are a journalist, you can send people around to speak to lecturers across the country to gauge their mood, and you see that they are very angry, and some feel that right from the word go, when we went to negotiate and the reasons why or some of the things that we're supposed to negotiate about, when we went there and we realized that we're not going to be allowed to negotiate around those areas, we should have just walked out of the negotiation table to declare the strike. We went there to say that we're going to negotiate the basics, our basic salary. We're going to negotiate what we also call a component of our salary called market premium. And then we're also going to negotiate other allowances. Now, we went to the negotiation table, and then we're told that you can't negotiate your basic salary. Even though we had signed an MOA, that's what we're talking about. When then they said, no, you won't negotiate your basic salary with you because your basic salary is a matter of single spine. And if we negotiate and we increase it, then it would open the floodgates for all others to come and ask for salary adjustment from that angle. And the government side was saying that, budget has been prepared already, the year is almost ended, and so they can't go that route. UTAG executives were expected to have consulted their members on this, but let's say they didn't. And then they went on to talk about, if you can't do basic salary, let's talk about market premium. Market premium is also a component of the salary. Then they said, you cannot also negotiate market premium because what they call a market survey is supposed to be conducted before you can increase the market premium. Now, the market survey is supposed to have been done way back in 2013. Every year, they give an excuse. And you cannot blame us for somebody's incompetence and inability to undertake a market survey.
All right.
So they have not done that too. And so they said you cannot touch the market premium. Then they all agreed that there is a research component of our salary that could be negotiated. And given that not everybody undertakes research, then that area could be touched and then improved and all that. And the negotiations went on. You remember that we have already indicated that way back in 2013, the entry point of a university lecturer, if you are employed, if you were employed as a lecturer in 2013, your basic salary was in the cedi equivalent of $2,084. But as of 2021, the entry point salary of a university lecturer is in the city equivalent of around
$900.
$994.
Yeah.
Okay, and nobody, the salary administration principle says that no employee's salary can be varied, traced, or at disadvantage except it is for the case of a punishment. And so we have been shortchanged. So when we went to the negotiation table, we said that, yes.
I just want to find out, on Monday, what is it that you're expecting to hear from the government
You will not
side?
let me finish. Please let me finish with this. I'm passionate about this. Let me finish for the education of the general Ghanaian public so that it doesn't look like we are doing something too much. Okay, so we said that then restore. We are not even asking for increment in salary. We are saying that if you want to do something about the research component of our salary, then find the difference between $994 and then $2,000 and then add, which is around 1,000 something. And the government said we can't pay that 1,000 something. And then UTAG said if you can't pay that 1,000 something, okay, just pay 500. And even that 500 they said they can't pay. Then UTAG said just pay 250. Even that 250 they say they can't pay.
Okay, now.
And so what do you want us to do?
Yeah. Okay, Professor Jampo. So
look at this, from 1,000 to 250.
Yeah.
I mean, will you do that? You sitting there interviewing me. Will you be happy about it? When we got to the 250, they said, okay, let us go and consult and come back. They went to consult. They never returned until the negotiation period, expired. And now they said there is another meeting on Monday. I think we cannot. Nobody is interested in strike. And this action, what we may eventually do is not against any government. It is against the factors that impede our progress and the factors that undermine our conditions of service. And if it would mean that we'll have to reactivate the strike action just to be able to communicate in a language that is better understood by the policymaker, so be it. It appears that in Ghana, when the politician is looking to improving his own conditions of service, he finds the money. Even when there is no money, they know when to find the money to improve their own salaries and conditions of service. But when it comes to the teacher, the refrain is, where are we going to find the money from? All of a sudden, the source from which they could improve the salaries and conditions of service of Article 71 office holders, the source from which they could pay illegal ex gratia to MPs, the source from which they could raise loans to buy cars for members of parliament every 4 years, disappears to them.
All right.
It is not fair.
Professor Jampo,
it is not fair.
Again, so on Monday, if you get to this meeting and they indicate that they're going to give you the $250, will that get you to call off or your plan, abandon those plans?
Take note of this.
Yeah.
Members were asking that they be restored to the salary values of 2013. And then UTAG executives had gone to agree on $250. That agreement has not been communicated. In fact, as of now, that agreement has not even been communicated to UTAG members. And so if they go and then they agree to the $250, that agreement must be communicated to the UTAG members, which I'm sure would even be described as a pittance and will be rejected.
All right. But there are plans to, revive the strike. It's coming at a time when I believe the university campuses, the students are away and the
students are not away. Come to University of Ghana. We've just started teaching our levels 200 and 300. We started this Monday. And so they are there. And those who are on vacation or almost on vacation, it means that then universities are not going to be opened. And, well, if that is the way authorities and policymakers would want to go, I mean, so be it. Some of us, we are prepared. If they want to jail leadership, members will be on strike and in solidarity. If they want to jail all of us, we'll go to prison. If they would want to withhold our salaries because we are fighting a just cause, we are fighting to disrupt the salary class situations that have been established by bogus and discriminatory constitutional provisions. If they want to punish us for trying to upset that kind of discrimination, and so they withhold our salaries, we are prepared to endure with our families and with the members of the informal sectors of the economy.
All right. Thank you very much, Professor Ramsford Jampo. He's the secretary of the University Teachers Association of Ghana at the University of Ghana. And they clearly have a point.
Yeah, they do. And I think, honestly, this was my biggest fear. During the negotiations, when all the talk was going on, I kept on saying that it's unfair, but once, the teachers and the lecturers go back without the complete, overhaul, or without their needs being satisfied, once they go back to teaching, it means that they are kind of giving away their trump card because they're back in the classrooms. And I was not completely confident that this would not happen. So I'm not surprised that this has happened. What's unfortunate is that for every negotiation and for every time that something like this happens and the government doesn't show up, what you're doing is that you're losing more faith in them. So the next strike, because there will be a next strike at some point, then will take longer. And I think that at that point, it would actually be fair for teachers to say that actually, you know what, we're not going to go back to school until this is absolutely resolved, because you have not shown that you will, show good faith and do what you said you would do. So unfortunately,
it will make things difficult. I mean, I can imagine that they would have to, the NLC will go to court and say, to compel the people to go, whichever striking workers are striking, and compel them to go to the classroom. And the court is going to say, no.
Not this time. I think at some point, some of these organizations are going to have to go the full, go all the way to the end and see it through, so that we show the government that we're serious. When we say we want something, we're willing to sacrifice whatever to get it. And I know how parents would feel. Obviously, I'm a parent, about the fact that, your kids are in school and da-da-da-da. But we have to fix this at some point. So, if it takes 6 months, if it takes a year, whatever, let's do it.
Okay.
That's what I think anyway.